Hello, I'm an avatar, and yet I really love animals. Crazy, right? But not as crazy as something you'll find out at the end of this video, so stick around. Right, let's talk about something that's been absolutely driving people mad: vegan cheese. And I get it, honestly, I do. You've gone vegan for the animals, you're feeling brilliant about it, and then you bite into what's supposed to be a cheese toastie, and it tastes like cardboard had a fight with plastic and lost. Sound familiar? I've been there myself. Standing in the supermarket aisle, staring at these expensive packs promising me authentic cheese taste and wondering if I've made the right choice. And there's the crushing disappointment when you get home, the waste of money, the sneaking thought that maybe you'll just have to give up cheese forever. But here's the thing, and this is what got me digging into the research. Vegan cheese has come on leaps and bounds, and there's actually some fascinating science behind why it's a really exciting time for vegan cheese. Let me start with why some vegan cheeses have been frankly awful. Traditional dairy cheese gets its texture and flavour from casein proteins and milk fats breaking down over time. Early vegan alternatives seems like they just cobbled some coconut oil and starch together and hoped for the best. No wonder they tasted like disappointment on toast. The real breakthrough came when food scientists started understanding what actually makes cheese. It's not just about replicating the taste, though that's important. It's about getting the proteins to behave like casein. Recent research from food technology labs has identified some amazing game changers. Cashew-based cheeses that use specific bacterial cultures, the same ones used in traditional cheesemaking, are creating actual aged flavours. We're talking about real fermentation happening, not just flavouring. Then there's the protein revolution. Companies are now using pea proteins, mushroom proteins, even precision fermented casein that's identical to dairy casein, but made by yeast instead of cows. The texture difference is noticeable. Let me save you some trial and error here. From the research I've been digging through and all the reviews I've found, here's what's actually worth buying for different situations. For melting on pizza or toasties, Violife and Applewood consistently perform well. They're not trying to be aged cheddar, but they taste amazing and actually melt properly and don't separate into horrid oil slicks. Reviews suggest Violife Epic Mature are particularly good for that proper cheese stretch. For sandwiches and everyday eating, Honestly Tasty's Camembert is genuinely impressive. It's got that gorgeous, creamy texture you want for a great sarnie. Cathedral City's vegan range gets good reviews too, especially for feeding your ravenous cheese-loving family members who might be skeptical. But what about the famous cheese boards that would even impress a French person? This is where it gets exciting. Kind A Co and I Am Nut are doing incredible work with proper aging processes, according to industry reports. Their aged cashew wheels develop real rinds and complex flavours. Honestly, Tasty's aged cheeses are fermented for months and have that proper, tangy bite. And here's one that absolutely blew my mind. La Fromagerie's Brixton Blue. It's an almond-based blue cheese aged with actual Penicillium roqueforti mould, the same stuff used in traditional Roquefort. Reports suggest the texture is really creamy, it's got that characteristic aroma, and it's genuinely fooled blue cheese lovers in blind tastings. For cooking and baking, nutritional yeast still reigns supreme for that classic umami hit, according to culinary experts. But mixing it with cashew cream and a touch of apple cider vinegar gives you something that actually behaves like cheese in recipes. For gratins and pasta bakes, reviews indicate Violife's block cheeses grate beautifully and melt without going greasy. Now, for the science bit. Researchers have identified the exact compounds that give different cheeses their distinctive tastes. Aged cheddar's sharpness comes from specific amino acids formed during aging. Blue cheese gets its punch from particular mold cultures. Vegan cheesemakers are now also using this knowledge to create targeted flavours. Some are even using the same Penicillium roqueforti cultures used in traditional blue cheese, but on cashew bases instead of dairy. Here's something that might surprise you. Making decent vegan cheese at home is actually easier than you'd think, and the science backs this up. The basic principle is simple. You need proteins that can form networks. Cashews or silken tofu work brilliantly. Something acidic to help them set. Lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, and fats for mouthfeel. Refined coconut oil or cashew butter. Based on the recipes I've looked at, soak 2 cups of cashews overnight, blend with 3/4 of a cup of water, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, 1 tablespoon nutritional yeast, and a teaspoon of salt. Add agar powder if you want it to set firm. The texture results that people report are genuinely impressive. Okay, that's massively simplistic, but it is doable if you really want to get into the homemade thing. The future's looking pretty exciting, according to industry analysis. Lab-grown dairy proteins are starting to hit the market, giving us identical cheese proteins without any animal involvement. Meanwhile, precision fermentation is letting us create the exact flavor compounds found in traditional cheeses. Some companies are even working on aged vegan cheeses. Proper caves, months of aging, the whole process. The results from early reports are genuinely impressive. So, there you go, you can have your cheese and eat it. So, if you're struggling with vegan cheese, based on what I've found, don't give up. Start with the ones designed for melting if you just want something that works in cooking. Try the artisanal aged ones if you want something to enjoy on crackers. And honestly, give making your own a try. It's surprisingly satisfying. Most importantly, manage your expectations. It's not going to taste exactly like the aged cheddar you grew up with. But the whole point is, it doesn't need to. It just needs to be delicious in its own right, which the modern ones absolutely are. Moving on from taste for a minute, did you know that the environmental impact difference is staggering? Research from Oxford University shows that vegan cheese produces roughly 90% fewer greenhouse gas emissions than dairy cheese. We're talking about massive reductions in water use, land use, and obviously no cows suffering in the process. It's a serious no-brainer nowadays. But here's something that might shock you. And it certainly shocked me when I dug into this. Dairy is massively subsidised by your government. Even post-Brexit, the UK government has committed to maintaining the £2.4 billion per year that previously went to EU farming subsidies. Research shows that between 2014 to 2017, subsidies made up 61% of average farm profits, with some livestock farms getting over 90% of their income from government support. What's particularly eye-opening is that 39% of dairy farm income came from the basic payment scheme alone. And while the UK has moved to a new environmental land management scheme post-Brexit, the full £2.4 billion per year is still going to farmers, much of it still supporting animal agriculture. The whole system is a mess, to be honest. Now, this is a bit of a back-of-an-envelope calculation, but if subsidies make up 61% of farm profits and were suddenly removed, you're looking at dairy cheese potentially costing a staggering 150% more than it does now. That's a rough guesstimate, obviously. Markets are really complicated and there'd be all sorts of adjustments, but you get the basic idea. That £3 block of cheddar, it could realistically be closer to £7.50 without taxpayer support. What this means is that when you're standing in the supermarket thinking vegan cheese is expensive, remember that dairy cheese has had its price artificially lowered by decades of government support. If we were playing on a level field, vegan alternatives would already be competitive or even cheaper. The animals we're saving don't care if our cheese tastes slightly different. They just care that their babies aren't snatched away, so humans can steal the milk that was originally meant for them. You might be wondering where you can buy all these delicious cheeses? So I've put together all the vegan cheese recommendations with affiliate links to my website. Just so you know, I may earn a small commission if you buy something, but it doesn't cost you any extra. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Just to be clear, I am an animal lover who uses AI to help research and fight against animal cruelty. But every word here comes from genuine passion for finding ways to live compassionately without sacrificing the products we love.